if we're thinking of how to bring speculation into reality, this principle, this card, because it's of the earth element again, has more to do with concrete, physical, material reality. So she would be the kind of influence that would help us figure out a way to make something tangible. So again, it feels like we're dealing with the money realm or the tangible realm. If we're asking the question about reality, often we think about reality as something we can actually measure or hold on to, and something concrete. Alright, now we're moving to this card we call Where We Find Ourselves. So in the realm of speculation becoming reality, what kind of state do we find ourselves in? This is actually a very beautiful card. The Ace of Cups is it's one of the most spiritual, loving cards of the deck. It has to do with this sense that there's this unconditional love, almost like coming from the gods. It's like an outpouring. You can see from the picture, it's just a beautiful card of this, it's almost like a fountain of love or a river of love that just keeps pouring like it's limitless. So that's actually very comforting to see that somehow in the midst, even if we're dealing with financial failure, that there's all this spiritual love or kind of a divine love that could be part of the picture here. And then when we move to the environmental card, like these are external influences or people around us, or in this case we would say influences around the question about how speculation would become reality. And with the Queen of Cups, this is again the feminine influence and feelings, and it's actually very compatible with Ace of Cups. Here it's saying that we really needed to be, we would really be somehow guided by the feminine feeling realm in guiding us through this, I guess through the unknown, or through the difficulties of how we would make something so vague as speculation into a new reality. It would obviously hit us first on a feeling level, from what I can see. And when we say feminine values, that has to do more with being in tune with our feelings and the cycles, the cyclical nature of life, process, paradox, which we spoke about, over like a linear destination. So this actually goes very well with a lot of the things we talked about at the Roundtable, because especially when we think of things like paradox or process versus just trying to arrive somewhere. The whole process of speculation kind of leads us in this circle. And the Queen of Cups is a very intuitive and nurturing energy that can guide us. So it's saying that this is somehow in the ether, or somehow in the atmosphere around this question. Okay, now we're going to move to hopes or fears. And here we have the Eight of Cups, another cup card. I think it's in this whole line of cups, which is the water element. And the Eight of Cups has to do with, it's actually called indolence. And it has to do with like just getting too complacent. And maybe that's our fear, like we're either kind of in a stagnant period, or we've just lost our inspiration. And that can happen sometimes when you just kind of lose your inspiration because you think, what's the point? Like, what's going to happen? Where are we going? Like, what's the point of like even starting something new or trying something? And I think that's the fear. And then maybe the hope is, because this card always has two faces, it's a paradox, maybe the hope has to do more with how do we move beyond that? Like, maybe there's, from all of this change that could happen, maybe there's an opportunity for us to go beyond the indolence. Like, there's also that sense like everyone's gotten a little too complacent. So what if this was like a really amazing shake-up and everyone was, finally going to wake up and do something? Alright, now the outcome. I always draw 3 cards for the outcome. The combination, kind of what pulls the whole reading together. And we have an interesting mix of cards. The first card that came up is the Five of Swords, which brings us back to the air element. And this card looks a little grim. It's called Defeat. So, it's a sense of a mental attitude of defeat. So maybe in order for speculation to become reality, it's saying that our old ideas really have to be defeated. We have to kind of give them up. We're kind of like, there's a lot of opposition to the old way of thinking. We can't again is that it's an Aries card, which we talked about the zodiac sign Aries, which has to do with all the new energy. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It's the vernal equinox, and it's what we talked about in numerology with the archetype of the emperor coming in. So it's interesting that we've gotten this energy again, and it's the card of like new creative beginnings. So it's like even though our thought patterns are going through a pretty radical overhaul, and we have to kind of accept that the old ways of thinking just don't work anymore, we also have the idea that there is this new virtue that comes through with, new possibility, and a sense, it's kind of like that feeling of spring, like everything's possible again. And then that card is immediately followed by the Two of Swords, which is another air card, which has to do with, again, communication and thinking. But this card is much more balanced compared to the Five of Swords. This card has to do with coming to peace with our thinking, like finding a way that the paradox or the contradiction or the opposites can rest together without being at war or at conflict. So they can kind of coexist side by side. So maybe whatever the inner struggle is that we're going through and how to make this speculation a reality, we have to realize that we can't choose one side over the other, whatever the internal conflicts are or the external conflicts, that both, there's always going to be the opposition and the paradox, and they have to be able to come to peace, come to an agreement. Maybe that's the most we can hope for in this new beginning, and that might bring the new reality. It's very John Lennon, Martin Luther King again. And then on the bottom, I always look at the bottom card for the reading, and we have, again, this very strong fiery theme and another Aries theme. It's a 1 card, which we talked about as being a very powerful number for 2011, and it's the Ace of Wands, which is a beautiful card. It has so much to do with new beginnings, new power, coming from really like dynamic creative forces. You can see it's like the divine creative will. And with this card, it's almost like anything can happen, but it is all about new beginnings. So how does speculation become reality? Well, it obviously has something to do with this like uprise of this fiery new beginning. And if we look again at the whole reading, I think we can see some overall themes here. One is this creative surgence, like this very dynamic, fiery energy trying to propel us or inspire us to take a risk, try new things, have confidence moving forward into the unknown. There's a need for surrender and sacrifice, I think, of the old ideals, maybe a complete sense of failure with the money system somehow, but staying very grounded and then realizing that there's a lot of love behind us, which I think we need to feel that, like we need to feel like there's actually love. There's some kind of safe space behind all of the unknown protecting us, and stay true to the feminine, so that we can accept the process that's involved and accept the paradox, and trust that new peaceful beginnings are possible if we are willing to let go of the old thought patterns and the old stagnation, the old swampland, so to speak. So I think that pretty much covers it. That's good. Just cut. I'm not going to say it again.